Brushed Away by the Vclaw. Chapter 1. Wait on My Wings. There are only a few things in life which are more irritating than being woken up by a blaring alarm. One of those is waking up the very second before the alarm goes off. Yes, like some cruel joke designed by Discord himself, this very thing has happened for the past 3 days in a row, without error, with a silver Gryphon upon his cloud. There weren't many things which Troy could say he legitimately hated, but he was really beginning to hate his recent sleeping habits. He also started to hate clouds. He hated living in his rather small cloud, not because they were uncomfortable, even though they'd be better off in a nice nest. A cloud would be a nice change of comfort after a hard day at work, but because it wasn't for him. It was difficult enough being a Gryphon in a place where almost everyone else was a pony, right down to the point of hearing every pony, and any pony was more common than anyone or everyone. Having to live in a cloud instead of a nest just seemed to confirm that fact. Nothing felt like it for him. Not his job at the weather factory, not his limited interactions with Pegasus ponies around Cloudsdale. Even his place of residence felt more like it was meant for some pony, not a Gryphon. Everything felt temporary to Troy, even though he didn't want it to be, not after everything else. Even with much resistance from his body out of pure apathy, Troy managed to pick himself off his cloud bedding and freshen himself up. After a quick preening with his silver wings, he flew himself to the nearby waterfall where he placed his cloud. Troy found it rather odd that none of the Pegasus ponies took advantage of something like this due to the fresh water. Of course, maybe Pegasus ponies are more reluctant over using a waterfall on ground level. Either way, Troy was a bit glad the cloud was out of the way from the ponies. Even though clouds aren't exactly the most private in living arrangements, the seclusion the Gryphon had felt was rather comforting. One of the best things about the waterfall was how it acted as both a shower and a mirror. After a quick rinse over his feathers and fur, Troy took a quick glance at himself. The silver feathers along his face were always a lot smoother than those of other Gryphons, and a smooth yellow leaf didn't exactly help make him look more masculine back home. Of course, the darker grey feathers along his chest to the top of his head were a decent indicator to ponies that he was in fact male, even if there were several pesky feathers which always seemed to find a way to cover his sweet golden eyes. The rest of his body was nothing special to Troy. However, it was starting to become rather annoying how often ponies would stop and stare at his Gryphon features. His dark grey, feline-like body had some paws with rear legs and claws in the front. His rather long wings, which run past his body length even closed up, and his long thin tail with a sun patch of tan fur at the very end. Troy knew, even before moving to Equestria, that he would be an odd sight to the ponies around him, but he wasn't aware of just how much ponies would pay attention to him. Some would stare with curiosity, while others kept their distance in fear. Almost every pony could talk to him and questions. Most of them were simple enough, regarding his diet or the culture of the Gryphon Kingdom. However, it was usually difficult to explain the biological aspects of Gryphons, mostly because the questions asked about them were either extremely uncomfortable or unbelievably stupid. In less than a few months, Troy managed to distance himself enough from these things to live his life in a somewhat comfortable manner, even if it meant isolation. As Troy flew up towards Cloudsdale, with his mind on cruise control and a satchel draped over his shoulder, he passed by several Pegasus ponies, happily waving back as they said hello to him. In all honesty, Troy didn't want to be secluded as he was, even if being more social meant dealing with countless questions like, is it true Gryphons seek changelings? Absolutely not, since their blood is toxic. Or, do Gryphons lay eggs? Well, yeah, duh. Even with the almost alien feel Equestria had to Troy, it still felt a lot kinder than back home. It was Tricky to find the right word to describe it, but kind felt like one of the best words. As Troy arrived at the weather factory, he was surprised to see the rather large crowd forming around the entrance as 2 ponies stood at the top of the steps. It took less than a second for Troy to notice the first pony by his side coat and multicolored mane, Rainbow Dash, talking over the crowd with a large red megaphone, as if she needed to be any louder. The pony next to her was a rather large surprise for everyone there. It was a purple alicorn known as Princess Twilight Sparkle. He knew quite a bit about her coronation, which happened shortly after he moved to Equestria, but he never thought he would actually have the chance to see her up close. As he settled himself in a cloud near the back of the crowd, he began to listen to what Rainbow Dash was saying.
Listen up, everybody. As you guys may know, a large storm is being organized over the D, E, F, G, and H regions west of Ponyville to help with farming efforts.
Troy could see several heads within the crowd nod.
However, it's been reported to me by Twilight here that we don't have enough ponies to clear out the area before the storm begins.
At this moment, Twilight stepped forward past the Pegasus to address the crowd.
Because of this, we are asking for any and all ponies willing to volunteer to step forward and assist for these preparations.
The crowd had some rather mixed reactions, to say the least. While there were some ponies who immediately raised their hooves and began yelling to join in, a large majority looked less enthusiastic about being part of something this large and sudden. Not that Troy could blame them. There were about 3 dozen different projects being done all over Cloudsdale that needed their attention as much as the weather job did, and cleaning up a field before it rained didn't exactly seem like the best thing to do on a Friday. Looking up to the clock above the factory, Troy could see the time was 7:54. Definitely not much time to get ready, although he was sure no pony but the radiant princess was at the front door, but even with that kind of distraction, he wasn't wanting to be late for his shift. With a quick stretch of his cloud, he spread his wings out as he prepared to fly toward.
Hey you, the Gryphon!
Troy's head turned back towards the stage as he heard Rainbow Dash, and saw she was starting to fly towards him. As the crowd began to look towards the Gryphon, Troy was worried about what the Stallion Pegasus wanted with him. He heard some rumors about an interaction she'd had with the Gryphon that didn't go well, and he was less than curious to learn more about that. As he stood up upon the cloud, he watched as Rainbow Dash came up to him, with a surprisingly blank look on her face as she scanned him up and down.
So, Gryphon guy, what's your name?
My name is Troy S. Clausen. I work snow division at the Rainbow Factory.
What's your wing power, Troy?
8.7, I think.
You think you help with cloud formation today?
I guess I could.
That's great to hear.
Troy looked past Rainbow Dash to the source of the statement, as the lavender alicorn flew towards the 2 of them, looking rather happy upon seeing him.
We're really needing all the help we can get for this project, so thank you so much for your help.
Her beam and statement seemed sincere as she smiled at him. As Troy looked back to Rainbow Dash, he noticed that her face was no longer blank, but seemed more lively and pleased that he agreed.
Cleanup starts at 10 a.m. at the D section. You know where that is?
Sure, it's about 10 miles from the hospital, right?
That's it.
And you won't have to worry about your work schedule. Just tell your supervisor that you're going to be helping me in Rainbow Dash. I'm sure they'll understand.
With her horn's magic, she levitated to him a small royal excusal sheet, surrounded by the royal purple aura he never thought he would see up close.
Thank you. I gotta get to my shift, so I guess I'll see you guys at 10 then?
The 2 ponies nodded as he turned past them and went into the factory, giving a kind wave before going inside.